Hello, everyone. Welcome to our new cybersecurity webinar. In today's webinar, we have with us Hackers Villa founding team, Sanjay and Aditi Chauhan. Hackers Villa Cybersecurity is a professional security training and B2B services platform. Hackers Villa provides VAPT services for various schools, universities, and institutions. They also have a Train the Trainer program, which provides training to the faculties and students to make them aware of how to implement cybersecurity. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Sanjay and Aditi. Sanjay is a cybersecurity evangelist, speaker, trainer, and an ethical hacker. Sanjay loves speaking and creating awareness on various cybersecurity topics. He has found notable bugs for major brands and won several accolades. He has also been working with Upgrad Campus as a subject matter expert and is also the co-founder of Hackers Villa Cybersecurity. Aditi is also a cybersecurity enthusiast and a co-founder of Hackers Villa Cybersecurity. She loves to talk about various aspects in the space of cybersecurity. Currently, she heads the marketing in Hackers Villa. Please welcome Aditi and Sanjay.
Thanks a lot, Rumita, for the very good introduction.
Thank you. It's great to be here and have a conversation and making awareness with other people regarding this topic.
Thank you. So, shall we begin?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
So, my first question to you would be, we see that this digitalization has been increasing. So various scams and frauds have also come into existence, right? So what do you say about this?
For this, I would like to say that the 21st century is the digitalized era, right? And in this era, especially after COVID, everyone has started using internet and all these things. So for this question, I would like to go in 3 phases: the cause, effect, and the solution, right? So if we talk about the cause, everyone after the COVID and in the COVID has started using a lot of internet, and they have started revealing their information on internet a lot, whether it's logging into any sort of website just by going with the Google and all that stuff, right? And second would be, this has made easy for the fraudsters to take up the information, the databases, and other causes can be more people sharing information online these days, as I already said. And there is a hike in these people, like the number of the people who have been sharing all these information. And if I talk about the effects of this, people have suffered a lot, like the financial losses, emotional distress, and people have also gone into debts also due to all these fraudsters taking up information through the credit cards, right? And they have been, making people giving all their life savings and then also ending up into the debts, and that they are not able to repay, leading to suicides and other things. So these can come into the consequences of all these things that have been increasing. But as we all know that the solution to the problem always lies in the problem itself. So yeah, so the problem that we actually faced was we have started being very frank to unknown people. So initially we have to check the legitimacy, the information that we are gaining these days, is it legitimate? We have to check the resources. Secondly, if we talk, like if we are talking to any of the unknown person, we have to check that is the person right to share our information or not. And if we start taking these small steps, not sharing OTPs to any person who calls himself as a bank employee or a legitimate person, we have to check the resources. So as we all know that the solution already lies in the problem itself. So as we said that the problem was to, we are not able to check the legitimacy and all these things. So first solution comes here, that we have to be the one who is always checking the resources of the information, the legitimacy of the person. and not sharing the OTPs to the people who are just calling us and saying that they are any bank employee or trying themselves to be a legitimate person, right? And the last solution is that if we find something suspicious, even we are the one, it always starts with you and me, right? It's not that that world has to go on a phase and world will improve. It always starts with us. We have to do awareness sessions, we have to do podcast videos, and we are grateful that we are also creating awareness right now through this podcast and video session, right? And if we find something suspicious, it always starts with us that we have to report it to the right authority. If we don't report, the scammers are increasing. They are doing all these things that they always do, and they are also getting the high. Yeah. So as we always know that the solution already lies in the problem itself. So as we already discussed the causes and the effects that are being caused, so we actually need to work on the solutions. And the solution starts with us. So number one, we should find the legitimacy of the people who are trying to call themselves as the bank people or some employee of some legitimate company, right? XYZ. So we have to find the legitimacy and not sharing our second will be not sharing our personal information with anyone, and specifically the OTPs, because OTP is the only way, one of the only way, I won't say the only way, but one of the only way you can get hacked in seconds, right? And all the your identity will be lost, and then again the emotional distress and all these things. And third would be, as I already said, that it already starts with us only. So we have to say that whenever we find something suspicious, we will be the one who will be reporting to the right authority. And lastly, as a whole, as a group, we should create awareness via videos, podcasts, YouTube, and all these things. And we are super grateful that we are doing it right now. So we are making people aware, right? So we have to work on these solutions, and we have to be the action taker, because cause and effects and knowing about them won't work. We have to work on the solutions.
Yeah, so I think it was a very insightful answer, and we had a lot of key takeaways. Like you said, not to share too much of information with strangers, and spreading the awareness across. So thank you for the beautiful answer. So
Thank
with this, I would, since you talked about various methods, so can you please show us how unsafe downloading or surfing the internet could actually lead to potential data breach? If we can see that, that'll be lovely.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Aditi, for the answer. Let me add and let me show you this thing practically as well. So as you were talking about the OTP thing, and as you were talking about, as many of the fraudsters and scammers are increasing in this time. So the point is that a lot of people are basically doing a lot of attacks. Like there are call forwarding attacks, which are like the best way for the scammers to go ahead with this thing. And this happened with me recently. I just called one of my family person, right? I just called, and the call was redirected to somebody else, and they picked up the call, and they were like, okay, this and that. So obviously I have to change the numbers as well. So this happens usually because a lot of the times when sometimes if in case you are traveling in a metro or traveling in train, or you're traveling outside, and somebody just asks you for your phone, hey, can you just please lend me your phone? I have to answer, I have to call my family, and I just need it for a minute. And they just type in a number that they would just act like they are calling somebody, but they would be making call forwarding on your phone, so that all of your calls would be now forwarded to someone else. So these are the things that are happening. And as you asked that what are the things that are going through, let me share my screen and let me show you how these unsafe downloading things, and we all love to download cracks or download pirated softwares, because obviously they are costly, and this is one way of how hackers are entering into your machine, right? And what happens is that obviously it's kind of thing that would be okay for you, right? Because this is something that most of the people think it's okay to download the cracks. But just imagine, why would somebody give you something for free? Obviously, right? They want to earn from your data. That is something that they would be going through. So I'll be just sharing my screen right now, and over here I'll be simply going over and showing you a little bit of the same thing. Right. So once again, InstaSafe or Hackers Villa, we don't promote downloading any kind of piracy, right? Any kind of pirated softwares. So this is just for like a kind of a disclaimer that what happens if you do such things. For example, if in case I want to download Adobe Photoshop crack over here, I'll just simply visit, and there would be a lot of websites which are basically coming on to my screen. So there are like a lot of websites. Now, the person who is first time coming into all these things, let's say he clicks on any one of the link, and what happens that it basically shows you something like this. So it basically shows you how these things are done, and it basically shows you quite like some of the features of Photoshop and act like a legitimate website. So it is not. Right. For example, if you click on download crack, what it would do, it would download Photoshop crack version or any kind of that software that you want to go through with, but it would open a very fishy link and it would download kind of these files. Right. Because the name is similar, right? The name is similar that you are trying to download. And the point is that they have told that please do go ahead with copy this link and paste it in a new tab, and they have also given the password. They have logged this particular file as well. So what is the sense of locking the file and giving you the password? Right, that's a very fishy thing, and you have to think about it. When you download it, it downloads something like this, and this is just a 5 MB of a file. And when you open it, you will realize that this is not legitimate thing that you are looking for. This is basically having a file, and if you basically give the password that was 10101, and if you go through with it, you could basically see that you are downloading some software setup.exe, which is not even what you want to download. This is something that hackers want to inject in your PC, and it have a lot of other applications installed, right? And if you are able to install, or if you install or double click on this particular setup.exe, they might take the whole access of your PC, encrypt it, and then ask you for the ransom. Right. That's how these things are increasing, and that's how unsafe download and downloading these kind of crap would basically lead you to towards something that I would say that you should not fall into the trap. There are like lot of ways by which these people are doing that. Right, this was like two ways, like the OTP thing and all these things. Second, third, it could be that you could get a call from somebody, right? You could get a call from somebody saying, hi, I am Rakesh from Paytm. Like, I am XYZ from Paytm. I have monitored a transaction on your phone number, but that is coming from a different IP address. So for that, I want to confirm that if it's your phone or not. And you will be like, okay, this is not me who is doing the transaction. You will be confused because digitalization has been so increased, right? We all have our accounts on Paytm, Google Pay, or Phone Pay, right? So you will be like, okay, please go through with it. And then I would basically say that, or the hacker or the attacker would basically say that Paytm never asks you for OTP or passwords. That would basically build a trust on you that, yeah, I am really from Paytm. And when that happens, you will be sharing details. You will be sharing, I'll be simply asking, what's your father's name? What's your mother's name? What's your date of birth? Can you just give me last 4 characters of your Aadhaar card number? Can you confirm me your bank account so that I could say that it is safe or not, or it is the transaction is safe or not? And believe it or not, with just your Aadhaar card and with just your bank account number, I can get a loan on your name. Right. That are the things that are happening in today's time, and people are falling for the trap. And through that loan, I can basically do anything. I can literally go ahead and increase my marketing as a scammer, right? And a lot of things are happening these days. That is the thing.
I think it was very interesting and at the same time very scary what you showed.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sanjay. It was indeed when you show it practically, it's very interesting to see, and it's very informative to know that how risky these things are online. So Sanjay, with this, can you also show us if we could know how attackers think and perform the attack, because you are an ethical hacker, right? So if you can show us, that would be great.
Sure. So let's go with it practically. As I told you that these kind of files are the things that could let you attack into the machine, right? So I am currently having a setup right now. And through that setup, I could basically show you in just next 10 minutes how these things are basically done, right? So over here, my setup is currently in virtual machine. And because I won't be touching my own machine or somebody else's machine over here, this is totally virtualized platform. And the setup is that I'll be having a particular machine over here that is Kali Linux, right? Which you might have heard, or all the security enthusiasts might have heard. This particular Linux is the operating system that helps you go inside practical ethical hacking. Like, it have all the tools, and many of the cybersecurity researchers use this particular operating system for carrying on with all the attacks and all the research purpose. So over here, I'll power on this particular machine, and also I have a Windows 7. Why I have taken Windows 7 as a target? Because mostly in today's time, a lot of technologies, a lot of companies are still working on Windows 7. Are all ATMs. When I go to Metro, I see the boards, they are working on Windows 7. When I go to airports, the machines, the projectors, like the screens that are there, are working on Windows 7. Most of the things are working on Windows 7, and that is still a threat to us, right? So this is something that I'll just simply show you. So I have my Windows over here, and again, I have my Kali Linux booted over here. So these are the two machines that I would be doing. I would be trying to hack my Windows 7 from, my Kali machine. So let me just simply log in and open the machine. And over here, this is my Windows 7. So I'll be simply creating, the same kind of file over there that I just showed you, right? So I will be creating that particular file, and then with that file, I'll be simply getting inside the Windows, right? So that would be the practical aspect. So let's simply go ahead and let's simply basically go back to Kali over here. And once I basically go into the Kali, I'll simply basically open a terminal over here. Now, a terminal is basically a thing by which you could give some commands and the things would be working, right? So over here, I would be just going ahead and I'll be creating this particular exe file or the setup file which you might want to download, or which you might want to download from different aspects, right? So I'll simply go with this, and there is a simple tool. Obviously, this particular tool could let me create these kind of things. So I'll be simply going ahead and attacking my Windows, which is 64-bit version of Windows. And this is the technical aspect of how you create the things, and the name of the payload that we're basically creating. A payload is generally a term related to how you could basically hack into the particular machine. So that is what payload we are currently putting in. And then we would be creating a reverse connection, right? We would be basically creating a reverse connection coming from that machine to my machine. So it's specifically that if I have one machine over here, that is the machine of the victim, and the second machine, that is my machine. So I'll be basically getting a reverse connection from the victim's machine to my machine. That is from my Windows 7 to me. That is what I have. That is why I have written reverse connection over here. So then I have to give my IP address, just like your home addresses are there, right? With your home address, I could reach to your home, right? Be it any place in the country, right? I can, with your address, I can visit your home just like that. Our computer devices have a certain IP address as well. That is basically unique. And with that IP address, any device could reach to any device. So I have to put my IP address over there because I want the victim to reach me at the end, right? So for that, I would be first of all checking in my IP address. And this is my IP address. I'll simply copy it, right? And I'll simply paste it over here. And then by just creating it, I'll giving it the output. So let me save this particular thing in with the name called as, let's say, I want to call it setup 123.exe. So I've basically named it setup123.exe, and I'll just simply press enter. So this setup123.exe will be now created, and then I will be sending the setup123.exe to the Windows 7. Just like how you download any kind of these setups, I've just created the similar kind of a setup, which is not having any fancy kind of ransomware attacks or something. It's just it will just be able to take the access of the Windows machine. So setup123.exe has been saved. Now is the time to send the setup123.exe over to the Windows machine. So let me send it quickly to the Windows machine. Okay, so I'll be starting a server so that I could basically connect with my Windows 7 and simply copying this to the server itself. Okay, so let me specify the file I want to copy. That was setup123.exe. So just done. And now we can go back to our Windows, download that setup. Okay, so here you can see we have got our setup123.exe. I'll simply click on it, and though it would download easily in your PC, right? You could see that currently Chrome is basically blocking me that I cannot download this kind of file, right? So this is something that you saw that when we downloaded it on original Windows, right? When if I go back to my original Windows, and here you can see that when we downloaded it, it was basically a RAR file having a password. That was the reason why they basically encrypted and why they basically created a password, put a password on that, so that other people or other kind of antiviruses or like the browser blockage should not be there. So if you usually download directly the exe file, it would block you. So over here, I'll simply just say that please don't block, and I'll simply just download it, right? So keep the dangerous file, and it would be downloaded in my downloads folder. So here is the file. I'll simply just drag it to my desktop over here. Right, so this file is currently on my PC. Right, now let me go back to Kali and set up the exploit as well, set up this particular attack, so that if the second person clicks on that particular PC, I should get the connection. So for that, I would be opening a tool called as MSF console, which is generally used by a lot of attackers and a lot of people.
You're breaking, Sanjay, from the MSF console. You're breaking.
Is it cool now?
Yeah,
It was
fine.
clear to me though.
In case I'll do it again, no issues. Is it cool now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what we want to do now, we just want to create a connection back to the machine, so that if somebody clicks on that software in Windows, I should get back the connection. So for that, there would be one tool required that is called as MSF console. And this particular tool is used by a lot of cybersecurity researchers and a lot of cybersecurity people, and also the attackers, right? So that they could take the access directly. So let's wait till the time it's starting, and we can go ahead with it then. So it has now started, and what we have to do, we just have to set up our exploit. So quickly, just simply set up our exploit, and it's a simpler, very simple exploit that could also even hack into our Android phones or our Linux or any kind of iOS or any kind of Windows or any kind of operating system. Basically, it could attack into any kind of operating system. That is the beauty of how this particular framework has been written, right? So I'll simply I'll simply do this over here, and now I'll go ahead and I'll simply set my IP address, right? Set my IP address once again. Done. And quickly, I'll just simply type run. So when I run it, it will now, it has now started listening, right? So the other, currently the other PC that is basically there, the victim's PC, we're listening to that victim's PC, right? The connection, if it would be coming, we would listen and we would connect with that connection. So the point is that over here, if I go and if somebody clicks on this Windows 7 setup123.exe and run it, you can see nothing is happening, right? Nothing is generally happening. Doesn't seem something is happening. Only a loading has been taking place and the loading stops, right? But if I go back you can see I've got the connection. If I just types this info, that is system info, you can see that currently I'm inside my Windows 7, right? So that is the thing. If I type ls, I could basically list all the items that are currently present on the desktop, right? And I could basically create some folders. You could see that currently there is nothing, there is no folder on my desktop. But if I basically try creating a folder, for example, mkdir, and if I want to create a folder, for example, hacked, press enter, go back, and you can see we have the folder now, right? So we are able to get this folder, right? So remotely, I could basically be hack I will be basically be able to hack you with this particular exe file. I'll just send this exe to you, and remotely I could hack anybody in the world through this particular technique. So there are like lot of these kind of techniques, and not even I could create the password, but I could also change your Windows login passwords. I could also basically change all the folders, encrypt all the folders. I could play any kind of audio file in your PC. I could basically take your webcam access, your mic access. I could send a keylogger, right? That would basically monitor your keystrokes and send me back. I would basically send any kind of inputs, right? I can do literally a lot of things, right? So that is how attackers generally perform these attacks, and that is how generally cybersecurity researchers also do researching when they want to analyze a particular machine, or when they want to basically know about a particular attack, how it's working. So that is the thing.
Wow, thank you. That was pretty interesting. Like if a non-technical person like me was so interested to view this, I'm sure, technical people would love to watch it more. So with this, since we saw so many scary life things, that you showed us about hacking and how you could hack our systems and stuff like that. So please tell us, how could this affect our privacy? And what kind of, damage can it actually do to our official data or our personal data and personal life eventually?
Okay. So basically what happens is that this could lead to a massive destruction, right? The point is that, a lot of damage could be done through this. A lot of personal, mental damage could be done, right? Because if somebody hacks you, the point is the most important aspect is that you deal with mental damage, first of all. And that is so huge that, sometimes people do go in trauma because a huge amount of money has been deducted. And even after digitalization, the jobs are, this is the time when the jobs are increasing, right? But the time that we have gone through, right, to 2020 and 2021, when the jobs were not there, even my parents were losing their own jobs. So the saved money, if it goes, obviously it hurts a lot. So the point is that this is something, it could deal literally a lot of damage, right? The point is that in 2016, one of this kind of virus or ransomware got introduced in 2016, and a company basically, not a company, basically a group of ethical hackers were there who fetched it out, and who basically just simply released it in the world, right? Now they just released it into the world so that to tell general public that it's happening. But what was the cause? What was the consequence of that? Some bad people got the access of the tools. They created a ransomware which was called as WannaCry ransomware, and was a huge ransomware. Anybody who is into the field of cybersecurity might have heard the name WannaCry ransomware. And from 2017 to till date, many people are still facing the consequence of that. In all, it has done more than $70 million of damage, right, overall in the whole world, right? And that's a huge damage, because a lot of people, a lot of schools, a lot of principals desk PC that are there got hacked. A lot of data got hacked. Recently you might have heard about AIMS hacking done in Delhi. So the whole hospital's data has been hacked, right, and encrypted. So the point is that when a hospital loses its data of all the patients, You could basically see that how much depth it could basically create for that particular hospital and for the doctors as well. And even not, it's not simply limited to hospitals, but it's basically goes to all kind of universities. And even we get calls daily that said this thing has been hacked and that thing has been hacked, can you please prevent this? And that's why we are providing VAPT services as well, and teaching the trainer program, so that we could aware the faculty and we could aware the things over there. So that is the point, right? And it literally has a lot of damage. So, right. So this is something that we have to be aware. Supporting Aditi's answer, we have to take the solutions. We have to take the steps ahead so that we could, simply prevent this.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think you have almost covered about the risks, and we spoke about how initially we can take steps to control this. Okay, from happening basically. But now, can you also go into a little more depth and tell us the methods that we can use to protect ourselves and keep ourselves online safe?
Sure. So basically what happens is that whenever you are into attack, so let's imagine 4 to 5 attack scenarios. Number one, if somebody calls you and says that, hi, I am this person, and you give it the OTP, you give them the OTP and your money got deducted. The first point is basically the first point was basically that you have to go ahead with this, and you have to basically go to cyber police, right? And the respective cyber police of your company, and ask them or tell them the whole scenario, and they would basically go into the research purposes, that okay, research thing, that okay, how the attack was there and how these things are working. So the point is that once you are going to the cyber police, second thing that you have to go to the forensics people, right? Now these forensics people, or the companies giving B2C forensic services, they would basically go to the point that where this call was originated from, and if you have scammed via email, right? So from where that email was coming and everything, and they would help cyber police out of the things, that how the things were carried out, right? So that is the thing. So that could be the number one aspect. Second, if you download a certain kind of certain piece of trash or something, and you click on it, and it basically start giving the access, right, to the second person, you could simply use some of the tools, right? Some of the tools, if you Google them, there are some of the commands like netstat and other things, which could basically give you the things about that, where your PC is currently creating a connection, right? Check in the list that if there's some connection going outbound that you do not trust, or that you do not feel that okay, it's something that mine or not. Even this goes with the phone as well. You might have seen the phone that there is a data usage setting. You have to basically check that regularly, and check that if there's something that you're a very different application that you have not installed, and you are not knowing about that application is working in the foreground or background and taking some data. So you have to check that. And if the damage has been done, if your money has been taken, sadly currently there is no system that could bring back the money. The only point is cyber police could help you in that case, and that is the only option left. Otherwise you just have to be very safe while doing all these transaction things, and who is on the other hand, and whom you are talking to, that this thing. Okay, anything that you would like to add, Aditi, on this point? I guess she might be having a lot of ideas.
Yeah, already told that solutions are the only key, and he told the right solutions, elaborating mine also. We ourselves have to be aware of all these things. And until and unless we ourselves are aware, we cannot make others aware, right? So first, again, we have to start with us, not sharing OTPs. And this thing, there are pop-ups even when right now on screen also he was saying, right? There we get a pop-up that this file may be harmful, and this file, and then also we are not checking up the resources, we are ignoring that message. Why are we ignoring that message? At least we have to check the resource, is it legitimate or not, and then only we should carry forward that thing, right? So the, and when we know that if the loss is done, there is no way that our money can be repaired or we can get them back. So we have to stay safe. This is a prevention sort of thing, right? We have to stay preventive, not ki jab ho jayega tab dekhenge. We cannot have this attitude to this thing.
I think it was a very insightful session and a lot of awareness, has been passed on to our viewers. So yeah, thank you for this insightful session, this awesome, online live hacking and stuff. More so, it was more interesting because Aditi and Sanjay are pretty young entrepreneurs. So I really congratulate you and thank you for attending this webinar with us.